We are live.
Oh, it's so good to see you
I
again.
know it is so good to see you. I think I might have to just confess that as much as I think that these are helping and they add value and all these things, I just get happy when I see that I get to talk to you during my day.
Yes, yes. I mean, we could schedule more
I
and different
know, I
things, but
know.
but we're both busy people, and this is really helpful, right?
It is. So
Right?
selfishly, hope everybody else enjoys, but even if you
Yeah,
don't, we're happy. That's all that really matters.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm Tricia Broderick,
And I'm Diana Larsen.
and we co-wrote Lead Without Blame. And we come together once a month, different dates. We although we've gotten a little consistent. And I even kind of
Oh,
like how
look what that
that's what I just thought too. I was like,
the
that's kind of
green
cool.
screen does a weird thing there.
Uh,
Yeah.
and we come together once a month just to talk on a different topic. Sometimes the topic is directly from the book, sometimes it's related to the book, sometimes it's a person requesting us to talk about this topic. So if you have a topic you want us to talk about, let us know. We try and get a little creative about whatever the month is, and how we can tie it to the month in particular. And so this month in particular, we thought marching forward. So kind of turning our intentions into action, and really kind of builds off of last month's topic that we talked a little bit about. And so, this is one of those things, like, I think probably a lot of people are experiencing, right? Where really good intentions, really feeling the need, right?
Right.
But how to turn that into action? What are some tips and tricks that we might be able to give people in terms of things that we do to kind of march forward, to keep that momentum, which is building off of last month's kind of conversation and topic about stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, a friend of mine years ago, sort of, I'm going to tell two stories about two different friends. A friend of mine sort of clued me into the fact about March 4th,
Oh, okay.
which is like, yes. And and it's sort of like May 4th is May the 4th be with you. This March 4th is, about taking action. But I have a friend who gave me a mnemonic that she had created, where she said, she had a little graphic. I don't have it with me right now, but she said, what we really need to do to get the outcomes that we're looking for is ensure that our intention and our attention are in alignment.
That feels like t-shirt quote worthy right there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and she had a little graphic about it, but for me, that's, I mean, I always have a lot of intentions, right? I don't always remember to check in to, am I putting my attention in support of those intentions?
Nice.
And so that has been a real lesson for me through, that I check in with every so often with my life. And I was just remembering a story that I was at a conference last week where I realized that I had some intentions about some things I wanted to make happen in my life, but I hadn't really fully put my attention there or let other people know that I had put my attention there. And so I did that. And it was great. We ended up, it was an open space conference. We ended up having a great session on that topic. And that's, that, I think that's just really important. And there are so many of us that are, particularly in the agile movement community. I don't know, the community part of it, it feels like it's coming a little bit unglued, but the movement is certainly still there. The idea that we want to have good workplaces that are
Maybe
healthy
now
and
more than
growthful.
ever.
Yes, yes, healthful, growthful workplaces, and where we get to go to work and feel productive, and we get to be supported in our high performance and those kinds of things. We're all looking for those. There's so many of us who are looking for those right now, and I really celebrate my colleagues who have managed to get themselves into a situation where they still have it. They've still got that opportunity for themselves. But it just seems like a good thing to talk about. So what about you? What do you
Well,
think
you
of
said
when
there
you
was
think of?
2 stories. Did you get the other friend too?
Well, that was the March 4th
Oh,
story.
okay. The
Yeah,
more story.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Uh,
Marching forth.
gotcha.
Here we go.
Like, uh, so
Yeah.
I was thinking a little bit about this is like when I want to march forward and make some things happen, I am such a like I don't want to let anybody down person, right? I am that is a trait I have, maybe good and bad.
Yeah.
Right? And so I find that when I really want to like get focused, give that attention, right? Like doing those things, actually finding me a collaborator that I don't want to let down, right? Like finding me a collaborator that I'm like, okay, I got to do like I am not missing this. I am not missing this call. I got to be prepared. I do not want to, right? And it does give me not just momentum with it, but like purpose with it a little bit,
Right.
even if at times like the content itself is like, oh, am I here or not? Like it's I get to interact with you or I get to interact with somebody. And so for me, a lot of times collaboration is a huge factor in getting me to march forward. Even though it can be difficult at times, even though like starting can be hard or different, I'm such a like, I can't let this person down. That it's like, okay, what's the next step? What do I got to do? And it really does center me. It really does make me march forward, move forward and things with those. And maybe that's not always like the best advice in terms of like, there's probably therapy needed in that dynamic, but it really is something that helps me to march forward. Like, okay, what do I do? Even when it comes to like, as you're talking about like people struggling or doing different things, like that's an area where I just had some potential work come in and I was like, and I knew somebody. And so it's like, okay, they're actually more expertise in that area than I am. Can we partner? And again, it just helps me to keep marching forward, but I like marching forward with others. And I think that's really what it comes down to it for me, which I know is ironic in that I own my own business working alone right now, but but I think that's what makes it even more important for me when I'm doing it is to find those collaborators and to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That, I mean, that's really true. I mean, I'm a collaborator too, you know that. And finding those right relationships for people. I mean, making the commitment to others is, you know, is a piece of that you just spoke about. But then also finding the people who are who I'm going to feel good about collaborating with, you know, where their values link up with my values or their intention to get something done in the world is something that I also find worthy or whatever. I mean, luckily there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of good things in the world, and there's a lot of places where you can plug in, and sometimes, you know, they have that sense of spoiled for choice. You know, it's just like which of these things and which of these people do I connect with. But you know, figuring out what is the not the collection of dynamics that need to be at play, the collection of elements that I need to have at play to really be able to say, yeah, I'm here, I'm committed to this, I want to make this happen. Which, you know, I love doing with clients for sure, and I like doing with colleagues too as well. So yeah. And my new word, you know, is froligs. Have you heard about froligs?
No, say more.
That's my new word. Froligs are the colleagues who have become friends.
Aw, I love that.
And I sort of like the frolicking part. So they're froligs, you know, like when we go to the Agile conference and we all hang out together and play, but we're colleagues, but we're also friends. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I think when I thought about the other tip that I have for really marching forward is blocking my time.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about just what are you giving attention to, but I really, I can get that hyper focusedness of like, hey, I'm going to work on this. And so what I find is I will actually set my calendar and I will block out time that's like, this is when I'm going to work on. I'm submitting a new certification training course with IC Agile and then with Agile Academy. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give 2 hours to work on the course, this one, and then I blocked my calendar and did 2 hours for this one. And it sometimes feels ridiculous, but I remember doing that as a practitioner where I was like, I can't just go from meeting to meeting. I need to block my calendar, block the time, and say, I'm going to focus on that particular thing. And in a lot of ways, it's what I do when I am collaborating, right? We block our calendar from when we were going to write the book. We blocked our calendar. And so it seems sometimes weird that I blocked my own calendar just for myself, but having that calendar and saying, I'm going to work on this particular course for the Agile Academy, get those learning objectives done, and I'm going to do that for these 2 hours. It almost gives me permission to not focus on anything else. It gives me permission to just really narrow in. I know it's there. I know I'm not forgetting anything else because I had it set aside. And then I can really make some progress, march forward in whatever that task was and that thing. And when I stop doing that, I'll feel it. Like I actually will notice it. And so this week alone, it's why I thought of it, because I was like setting myself some block times on my calendar for this week, especially because I have some travel coming up. And I was like, if I don't get these things done before I go on travel, it's going to be a problem.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's important too. And I will leave myself little notes. I actually am feeling kind of anxious about getting things done these days because due to a lot of factors toward the end of the year this year and in January, a lot of family stuff and things, I got way behind on maintaining my personal Trello, which tells me every day, these are the things to focus on today. You don't have to worry about those things. Those are coming up in a few days or next week or whatever. But today, these are the days you've committed to focus. These are the things you've committed to focus on. And when I don't have that, I feel kind of, like, oh, I'm too floaty here. I want to have it be more clear where I need to be putting my attention. And otherwise I just have to do it with sticky notes and things like that. And that's not as good. So that's one of the tasks that's on my list this week and next, is to get my Trello, my own personal Trello Kanban back current and in shape, because it's gotten out of whack. So
we actually have Christina commenting out there, and like, this is part of it. It also gives us check marks, and sometimes us leaders, we don't get a check mark every single day. So just having this, I love this, Christina, because like, I also get a check mark from it. I didn't even think about that, but I love me my check marks, right? With things. So thanks for commenting, Christina. With it. Do you have any other tip that you'd give for making some marching forward progress?
I'm curious what Christina does, and I love that she spelled Frawley's correct.
Oh yeah, she did. She also, we'll show it. Hold on. She also says hello.
Thank you, Christina. Yeah. So another thing, another thing to get my actions with my intentions is that Kanban board, and that is true. And the other thing I do is I'm careful about the commitments that I make. I can, because I like working with other people, I can easily overload myself. And then I struggle with meeting those commitments, and that doesn't feel good, So I have gotten better at knowing what I'm saying yes to and what I'm saying no to. And particularly things like, I get a lot of requests from lovely people who are writing books and who want me to write a testimonial, review their book and write a testimonial, or write a foreword for I love doing that. I've written forewords for lots of different books, but I can only focus on a few of those things at a time. And particularly because, we all have to make a living, and I can't get overloaded with the things I'm doing gratis, when I also need to have time to, create my own income like everybody does.
Yeah.
So I've had to get better at putting my intention and my attention together is getting better at saying no or saying, well, maybe, but not right now. Um, and being able to be okay with that because that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
I'm not a
Anthony giving us
super.
a tip as well. We have
Oh,
Anthony
Anthony.
saying, and I
Yeah.
like this. He's taking it one step further with the thinking time. So, like,
Yeah.
blocking time to just go for a walk, to think, like,
Yes.
why don't I
Right.
do this? Why
Right.
don't I do this more?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so obvious when you see it, right? Like, and you're
Right.
like, why don't I do this more? But I think some of this is making me think of one more that I want to highlight, and then we'll wrap it for today with stuff. Is also just like it's partially from the celebration. It's partially like kind of getting towards your intentions of what things are. Is to also celebrate when you do march forward,
Yeah.
right? To just celebrate, to give yourself like acknowledgement of that progress, especially if it's a hard task, especially if it's something that you've been kind of like trying to avoid a little bit and things like that. And to celebrate that and to frolic as you need to, is really, it's helpful for me. I think I just like dancing. So I think anything that I can incorporate dancing helps me move and march forward, period. But we both do. So like there is that element, but I think that's another one I would add in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So where can people find you coming up, or how can people reach out to you to get your assistance and help?
Well, you can always find me at dianalarsen.com. There's a place there you can sign up for the newsletter. You can sign up, to send me a little note there, and we will definitely get back to you. I'm generally open to having conversations with people. So if you write and say, I'd love to have a conversation for this reason, my virtual assistant Tommy is her name, will set us up with something. But in person, I'm going to be around Portland area for the next couple of months, which I'm really kind of excited about. But at the end of April, I'm going to be in Denver, but you're not going to be there. I am going to be in Denver at the Organization Design Forum Conference. And then starting at the end of May and going through almost all of July, I am going to be traveling and to conferences. So I'm going to be at the XP 2025 conference in Brugwindisch, Switzerland. Then I'm going to be in Vienna. I'm going to attend the Retrospective Facilitators Gathering, which is out in the countryside outside of Vienna. But I'm also going to, in Vienna, do couple of workshops. I'm speaking at a conference called the Lean Leadership Summit, I think. I need to look at my notes. And Munich, and then possibly I need to talk to somebody a little bit more about maybe another conference in Munich. And then I'm going to be at the Socrates conference in Soltau, Germany in July. And from there, I will go to Denver again for the Agile 2025. And I've got some other things coming up in the fall, but that's probably enough. So I'm going to be around at conferences and traveling and looking to connect with people who, want some mentoring or some coaching or some consulting, or want somebody to sit in on their management meetings and give them some feedback about how they're going. I've had a couple of people ask me for that service. So I'm available to, for a lot of different things, and, reviewing your retrospectives or your end of sprint meetings, anything like that. So yeah, get in touch. I am eager to have conversations with people right now.
And somebody has a birthday coming up this month too. So happy birthday in advance with things.
Well, yes. Well, there are several of us.
Yes. And then I also, before I highlight where I'm going to be, I also want to acknowledge this because it was a really cool thing. My daughter was the publicity manager in a leadership role for a project at the school. And she was like, leadership's hard, Mom. I should probably read your book. So thank you, Diana, because you helped I may be cool to my teenage daughter. Like,
that's very good. That's really good. That's
I don't
great.
think she actually read it. She does have a copy. She did make me sign her a copy, but but just the fact that this was now tempting to her just made me very happy, and I thought you would enjoy that.
Yes.
Where I'm going to be, I have a busy couple. I've got some, like, and I am just beyond excited for, and I almost sound ridiculous because each one I'm like, and I can't wait. My bags are already packed, but I'm not kidding. I already have my bags packed for like the next 3 trips. I'm so excited. So I'm going to be at Innovate in Richmond, Virginia. Coming up this month, shortly, like next week, I'll be there as the keynote with that. I will be then heading to Finland for Scan Agile to keynote that one, which again, I've heard so many incredible things over the years. It's been on my list. I then in April will be speaking at the PMI Symposium here in Denver. So I'm super excited about that. Then I head to Orlando for Star East and speak at my first Star. I've done a lot of different TechWell conferences, but I've never done one of the Star ones. So I'm super excited about that. Then I'm headed to Budapest for Craft again this year, returning. And it was just like, I think the Craft conference and the Scrum Gathering in Cape Town might have been my absolute favorites from last year. So I'm thrilled to be returning to that this year. And then I'm helping to host Mile High Agile on July 27th here, the Sunday before Agile 2025. So get your ticket for that. I am starting to work on the lineup. Speaker submissions are due by the 15th, I think, of this week. So we'll be getting that out shortly. And then I am speaking and will be at Agile 2025 as well. That is a conference I have been attending every year since 2007 minus 2020, but like every year since then. So it is my one, like, just feels like home and thing to be going to. I do have some virtual sessions coming up in Publix. So I don't often do very much Publix. I do a lot of public conferences, but not a lot of public workshops. Right. I have a coaching, just kind of a what is coaching for leaders, just a short workshop coming up. And that's actually the first week of April, I think. So I have limited attendance availability for that, but I do have a couple of those types of workshops coming up. And then we have set our next Leading Amazing Teams virtual course as well, but that's not until August. So, so some things up there, but you can get anything on my site at igniteii.com for Ignite Innovation and Insight in Innovation. And then our next live, when we'll be coming back together, is on April 8th. So we're going to stick to the Tuesday, but we're coming back on that Tuesday.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. We've got just wonderful things. Again, if you're looking for a specific topic you want us to rant or, discuss or see what thoughts come out. We're
mostly it's that.
We're full of opinions. Just ask it. We're happy to talk about it. But otherwise, we'll see you back on April 8th.